and welcome back to another episode of In Brandon. I am your host, Kevin Spooner, and this week we're featuring everything multicultural. Big festival coming up soon. Get your tickets now. You don't have to buy. Today we're going to talk to Godem and Ida, who are here to tell us about the festival in general, and especially our brand new pavilion.
The Palestinian Pavilion.
Oh, I'm so excited we get to talk to Palestine. This is going to be so much fun. Palestine obviously is a huge news item. I know. And this is a great chance for Palestine to get the message of peace to the world.
Exactly. So our message in this festival going to be peace and love, and showing that there is people in both sides, Palestinian and Israeli, that love to live together peacefully and have the same rights, almost we shared lots of the culture together, Israeli and Jewish, because both of us came almost from the same background. And so we shared the same, most of the food, the same food. This, like dresses and traditional clothes, it's a little bit different because lots of Jewish came from multicultural Arab countries around Palestine, and there is also Jewish people who lived in Palestine originally from Christ's time. And so we want to show the culture, the food, the love of living in peace together.
So nice. And I'm glad we spoke about it right away, because otherwise it would have been the elephant in the room. Now we've talked about it. What I can amplify that I learned myself is that many Palestinians live and work in Israel and lead productive lives. And like you said, living together in harmony, that's the ultimate goal for anybody. And the fact that innocent people are stuck in the middle of people that just can't get along.
Exactly.
Is such an unfortunate situation.
It's unfortunate, and the people who are stuck in it, like there's inside Israel borders, lots of Palestinian who stayed and live with Jewish, so they get to be under the number of Israeli people there on that side. There is other side, the border between us, which is not real border, maybe traffic light or anyway, so which divide us now. It's also the wall that we have in between us, and lots of people cross on daily basis between Israel to like Palestine to Israel to work, and lots of Israeli used to come before the last war and cross to shop in the other side. And so I remember growing up, my dad used to have his store, and lots of his customers were Jewish customers, and we used to go and visit them and visit us. So before the 1989 Intifada, it used to be lots of people back and forth visiting together, living basically under the same culture. And lots of political changes happened that divided us a little bit, but we are proud of our heritage and proud of who we are.
And that is exactly why, excuse me, is exactly why a multicultural festival like the one hosted in Brandon is such a great opportunity for us to learn about other cultures, other ways of living, other ways of life. From countries such as Palestine and Israel, because in any discussion there's always two sides. And what I really liked is before we started, you told me that the Palestinian Pavilion is not only going to feature just Palestinians, you're also going to have a special guest.
We have a table and some product that the Independence Jewish Voice from Winnipeg going to be participating with this table, and product that they're going to put on this table. So just to show the people of Westman and Brandon that we are working in Winnipeg with other groups of independence people, that they want to have peace and love for both of us here in Canada and also in Palestine and Israel to live together. So this group is trying to help us also with the event in Brandon.
And not only that, they're going to demonstrate for us in Brandon.
That's right.
Two conflicting in another part of the world, there's conflict, but in Canada, we're going to bring them together without conflict And that is a model for the rest of the world to follow. And it's happening right here in Brandon. It's huge.
Yes, exactly. And like this is my first time taking care of all this big, huge job by myself, basically. I have 1 or 2 staff helping me, but I'm asking also lots of volunteer because it's a huge thing. And I was asking yesterday in our meeting, how many people are going to come? Like, I know it's big, but I'm hoping that we can handle all this big, nice amount of people.
And we're going to ask you how Godum got you up and your pavilion up and running, but we're going to cover off on some details first. Let's first talk about when the pavilion will be operating, because there's either Friday and Saturday or Thursday, Friday and Saturday, and then we'll talk about where the pavilion will be.
So the Palestinian Pavilion gonna have just the 7th and the 8th, Friday and Saturday. And it's going to be from 5 till 12 midnight.
Right.
And
that's on Friday.
That's on both days, Friday and
okay.
Saturday, 5 till 12. We're going to have it.
Okay.
And yeah, please don't come before that because we're preparing and getting stuff, and people will be arriving from Winnipeg at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the 7th. So we have to organize that too, and take care of all that. So yeah.
And where is it?
It's going to be at the backyard on Aberdeen.
Right, that's a wonderful place. I love that space.
Thank you. That's our place.
That is so nice.
So this is a venue. It's indoor-outdoor venue, as everybody in Brandon knows. And we wish next time we'll be in the summer so we can host it outside in our venue.
Right on. And do you suppose you'll attend the Riverbank Festival during the summer?
This summer, maybe I'll be attending that one. Last summer I wasn't around, so I couldn't. So, yeah.
Are you new to Brandon?
Yeah. No, I'm not new to Brandon.
Oh, you were just out of town.
Out of town.
I get it.
I've been living in Brandon for 25 years, and I can call Brandon home to me and my family.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So how much help, how hard was it to get the pavilion off the ground? And then as a sidebar, how did Godum help you get the pavilion off the ground?
Gautam and his group, like all the volunteer and the board of the Westman Multicultural Festival group help us with details, what we need from health inspecting to like fire department to everything, to have everything safe in our place, plus helping with advertising and give us ideas and brochure and how. And they also work lots with the people that can sponsor. They did have some local businesses and banks and institution helping with getting this going together, which is thank you for all you and your community.
No
committee. Sorry.
That must be, Godum, that must be one of the, guilty pleasures of the job is helping somebody do something that they've never done before, make sense of all of the rules and regulations that are part of Brandon business administration. Does it really give you a sense of pride when you see a newcomer to the pavilion blossom into a successful pavilion?
Oh, 100%. I mean, every person that's on the executive at some point in their life was a newcomer to the festival.
Yes.
And so we went through the similar process where we were helped. So for myself, starting the India Pavilion, I had help to get that off the ground. And then
You're paying it back.
Paying it back to Ada and others. We have 4 brand new pavilions this year that have never had a pavilion before. And so paying it forward, and then down the road, Ada and others can pay it forward as we grow the festival more. And so, it's always rewarding to help out. But, we've had experience with it. Last year we were only 6 pavilions, the first multicultural festival since the pandemic.
Right.
And so having it close to double again, we were actually up to double, we were up to 12, and Mexico had to pull out due to personal issues. And so seeing it close to double is a reward in itself, just to see that sort of growth with new groups getting organized.
And I heard about Mexico's unfortunate news, but we're all behind Carlos.
Carlos, yeah.
We're all behind Carlos.
He's been a big part from the beginning.
He's such a huge part of the Brandon community, and he's everywhere.
I know. I know Carlos from day one, like seriously, because we're in the same industry together almost and all that,
Yeah, and Yeah, my heart goes out to Carlos, and I'm wishing nothing but the best for such a energetic
guy.
and just
Yeah.
boundless amounts of energy,
Yeah.
but also very personal. The nicest, friendliest person you could
That's
ever
right.
want
Yeah,
to
he
meet.
is.
And
He is. He's
so
really
helpful,
nice. Yeah.
and such a great example of Mexican culture for us in Brandon to watch and witness. So it's such a good news story. We really like doing these pavilion interviews because number one, I get to meet people that I otherwise may or may not otherwise have met.
Yeah.
You're my first Palestinian guest.
Oh, thank you.
I know, isn't that wonderful? So I want to ask you a million questions.
Sure.
But we should probably try and stick with the pavilion. So
Sure,
let's
yeah.
talk about what we're going to see here and, most importantly, eat at the pavilion.
Oh,
What do we got going on?
I guarantee you the food will be good. I know the cook.
I know the cook.
Yeah, we're gonna eat Palestinian food, traditional Palestinian food. The main dish will be maklube, which is, they explain, like if I want to translate maklube to English, it will be like upside down. So what they do with this dish, actually, they have layers of cauliflower, rice, chicken, and they cook it as a big casserole together in a big pot, and they flip it upside down, and this is how you would look at it. It looks like a cake, but it's rice, but we're gonna have it in different shape, because if we're cooking for that amount of people, we have to cook it in bigger shape of that. And the maklube, it's include like what's in the dish. It's cauliflower, rice, chicken, and spices, and it's not too spicy. No, we don't cook with the hot spices. Our spices, actually, it's like nutmeg and cinnamon and this like light, nice spice.
The
but
nice
not,
spices.
Yes, but not too hot spices. And we have, beside that, also the traditional salad, which is tabbouleh. And tabbouleh, you can either use couscous in it or use burghul. And so we're gonna make both. And the tabbouleh has like the green, parsley, cucumber, tomato, and the homemade dressing with olive oil, because our country is rich of olive and olive trees.
I didn't know that.
And this is the number one thing that we harvest in Palestine. We have lots of lots of olive trees and citrus trees, and that's number one that Palestine and Israel famous of. Our trees and olive oil and olive trees and the oranges and lemon and everything else.
Wow, well, now I'm hungry, thank you.
And then we have lots of pastries, and the pastries, some of them vegan, vegetarian, and some of them with meat. And also I have another dish, full dish, which is vegan, vegetarian. We call it mjaddara. And the mjaddara is lentil and rice and onion, like sauteed onion on it with olive oil. And this will be served also with the tabbouleh for the vegan, vegetarian people. And we have for desserts also the baklava.
I've heard of that.
That's the best you can get in our pavilion. And yeah, the baklava and harissa. The harissa, it's with the cream of wheat instead of flour, and you put coconut with it and milk and stuff like this. And it's like a cake shape, but it's from cream of wheat, not the flour.
Right on. And we get the chance to say couscous.
Yeah. You can say
What how much more fun can you have than couscous? Wow. That is a huge menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
We might add more stuff.
For your first pavilion, you just went all over the top.
This is my department that I'm good at.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I'm the chef.
I thought there was a sneaky hint of a joke in there. Amazing. Kudos to the chef.
Thank you.
Well done. That is an impressive menu. And but we should also talk about the entertainment side of the house.
Yes.
What kind of entertainment can we expect?
So working with people in Winnipeg, which is like they have a huge Palestinian resident of Winnipeg that they are Palestinian. So they have different groups that they're gonna help us. There is some people gonna do the traditional dress show, like showing each dress and which city belong in Palestine. This dress show, it's like a walk, what you call it, like when you have the style show.
The board, catwalk.
Catwalk,
yes.
Basically, but with the Palestinian dresses, and they will hold the sign of this dress for which city, and they will explain about each dress and what's the city famous of. And
It's like a fashion show, but
Almost.
with
Palestinian dresses.
but a learning fashion
Yes,
show,
exactly.
a teaching fashion show.
Exactly. And also, we are going to have some people with the traditional dance. We call it the dabke. And they're going to dance with some of the songs that you've been listening or hearing about when you hear about Palestine in the background. And some of them, because with the cultural dance, you will have the Viva Palestina and all these nice songs that will be close to also English people or French people to understand the words of the songs, and some Arabic songs. And we will have also big screen with the background of Palestine and Palestinian songs that happen there. And I've been talking to people with the tradition dresses and music back home to use their music too.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see Palestinian people who are proud to show off the good parts.
The good part. And it's in every culture, there is the good parts. And I'll tell you, most of the people who lives in Israel and Palestine, they want to live together in peace and love.
I believe you 100%. Yeah. Isn't that the case? Well, we've spoken about it before.
Yeah.
Some people would just like to get on with their lives and not have to deal with all of the messiness that exists in our world.
And our country is beautiful. It has everything. The mountains, the sea, the Mediterranean Sea on the beaches is the best
Mediterranean beaches,
It's the
Can't
best.
get better.
And also the desert. We have it all in one small city, like one small country that it's the size of Manitoba maybe.
Nice.
Yep.
Such a wonderful story. That brings me back to Godem, because I know that this must feel great. But this is just a small part of a much bigger story, and we hinted at it earlier. The festival is showing huge interest, as we discussed, going from 6 pavilions up to 12 pavilions. How does that feel? How does the festival cope with this increased demand? Venues must be tricky. There must be problems that I probably can't even imagine. Walk us through what it's like absorbing this huge, we've doubled in size, and then of course the logistics of putting all of this together in Brandon.
Yeah, coming out of the pandemic was tricky. A lot of our cultural groups had disorganized over the pandemic due to health concerns. And so reorganizing after the pavilions, we decided to introduce the summer one-day event. So before we had the winter festival come back, we had a summer festival come together, and we had, I think at that time, 9 or 10 cultural groups perform at that summer festival. So we're hoping for that springbound our groups to get organized again. And then when we looked to host our first winter festival again last year, venues became an issue. So what we weren't predicting was that due to the hiatus over the pandemic, weddings, conferences, banquets, events, we're booking now that we could socialize again. And so even though we probably had 8 or 9 cultural groups ready to go last year, only 6 were able to secure venues. And so we had 6 pavilions last year. And so going into this summer, last summer, we had the one-day event again, and we had 11 groups participate. And then going into the Winter Festival, we really didn't know. I had actually pre-booked a bunch of venues in advance just in case culture groups were to come forward and want to organize and hold a pavilion. But that died down. The wedding crunch, the banquet crunch, the conference crunch all died down. And everyone was able to secure a venue to the point where we actually have 2 open venues right now in Brandon that could potentially host a pavilion next year. I had to let one go. And so, yeah, it's great. I think, 11 this year is promising. Hopefully Carlos and Mexico come back next year to get it back up to 12. And I know there's other cultural groups that are probably watching this, thinking about maybe getting involved, and hopefully we can grow the festival even bigger, because Westman is now very culturally diverse. And I think this is the best way to showcase it in the middle of winter when no one has anything better to do. And so that's, it's been great.
What I really enjoyed hearing about was that the Riverbank Summer Festival is a great, call it a springboard for somebody who is thinking, how much fun would it be to start up a pavilion of their own. but it's a big, huge task to start up
it
a
is.
whole pavilion.
Yeah.
So there's a great way using the summer festival to get into the groove, practice, figure out who your interested people are, get them all together, rehearse up a show, and then see where it goes. It's a great way to get started.
Yeah, for the summer festival, there's really no major buy-in from cultural groups.
That's the best part.
You put together a couple performance segments of 45 minutes, and that's your buy-in, and that's all we really expect you to do. And then you can see if you're interested in going into the deep end with the winter festival and organizing a pavilion. And it's worked. It's worked for us 2 years in a row. We've been able to hold successful summer festivals and then use that to bring in new cultural groups into the festival itself.
So if there was a pavilion watching this right now, we should probably light a fire, get them ready for summer. Do we know what the date is going to be? We do?
Yeah,
No way.
Yeah, I've booked it already. It's July 26th, 2025. So it's a Saturday.
Perfect.
And, good weather is destined for us on the 26th,
Of course
I know.
it is.
So I shouldn't book what wedding is that?
No, probably maybe a Sunday wedding, not a Saturday one. But it's been really helpful. And Dean down there at the riverbank has been more than appreciative and helpful in getting us to keep this going for now the 3rd year in a row.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the summer festival. More so because it was rapid fire. You had such this country and then another country, and then everybody took their turn showing us what their country was all about.
Yeah.
And it was, we're going to be immersed in Palestine at your pavilion. There was a more flowing, all of us being together in the same space vibe. Whereas in the festival, we get to immerse ourselves in Palestine, and then we get to immerse ourselves in India, which is the same but different, right? So I like that there's multiple flavors of diversity, so that we can appeal to the widest crowd audience possible.
What Ada will experience this summer is that she's going to be so busy running the Palestine Pavilion for 3 days, she'll forget about the 10 other pavilions and miss the Indian food and the Nigerian food and the Colombian food.
I love the Indian food. Don't.
And then in the summer, she can take it all in at once. So not only can she get involved, but she can also enjoy the other cultural performances and try all the different types of food. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a pavilion, actual winter pavilion, in as long as I've been in the festival. But in the summer one, I can kind of see little sneak peeks of all of them, and then go to all the different kiosks and try all the different foods that I want to try.
And it's a great place to go shopping, so that you can go, I gotta check out that pavilion when it comes up for the festival. Otherwise, maybe they wouldn't have considered that pavilion. So you get to see all the pavilions performing, and you might spot a gem that otherwise you would have missed, right? Such a great, good news story.
Yeah.
So glad to be a part of it. Unfortunately, I know that you are under a time crunch, so we're approaching the end of our scheduled time together, but we do have an opportunity to talk about, was there anything that we forgot to discuss about the Palestinian Pavilion this year?
Not really. If the drinks and alcohol, we have back home, we have the arak, which is like Zambuca, and I couldn't get it early this year because I didn't order it through the liquor mart earlier.
Right.
So this year we're gonna promote and put the Zambuca, but we have options of lots of other liquor, like we have whiskey, we have gin, we have vodka, we have nice beers, local beers we're using from Brandon, like brewery. So it's gonna be in our pavilion to also promote our local beer and tradition and all that. And I would love to see, I know it's not my place to tell people because mostly what we do is volunteering. I would love to see next year German pavilion.
Right.
Love to see, we had the English, but this year they couldn't do it, but it's coming back, I hope, next year. And also the Scottish is amazing. I love this because I love my whiskey. So I have to go to the pavilion. So, we are all living together. It's Manitoba, it's Canada, and we are all multicultural. We all came to this country and to live a better life, peaceful life together. So I'm asking the people of Brandon and Westman to be coming to all these pavilions and try every pavilion. What's the food, what's the culture, what's the people in each pavilion gonna tell you about their culture and introduce you more. You don't have to travel to any countries. You can travel in Brandon, Manitoba in the winters.
The world in our backyard.
Exactly, yeah.
Such a great story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
You're
bringing it to
welcome,
us
yeah.
and sharing and telling us all about the Palestine Pavilion.
Thank you.
It's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end, unfortunately, of our episode of In Brandon. But stay tuned, and we'll be back soon. Take care.